Hello everybody. This is a video on how to remove the radiator from my 1982 Honda Magna VF750. A couple of tools which were really useful in taking off the radiator. I already did it to make sure I could do it. Ratchet with a 10mm socket and an extra long extension. A 5mm T-handle hex key driver. I don't have a ball tip one, but that would have been much more useful. I'll go over what that's for. A 6mm box wrench for the radiator frame tube drain, and then an extra long bent tip set in needle nose pliers for removing the hanging bolt of the radiator. So I've already removed the radiator. I just have it hung up by the hanging bolt up top, which is up where my fingertip is here. There's a couple of side bolts which go here. This is why I wanted to use the ball tip. Go around the other side here. There's a little, because of this piece of chrome, there was a little limited clearance to this one, and the ball tip would have been a little easier. I took off all the plastic mesh pieces to get this off. Definitely have to remove the upper and lower hoses. One thing I left on was the thermostat housing bolt that bolted to the air cleaner box. It made it a lot easier to remove this junction. Over here there was my apologies. The overflow tube was back here. Here's the overflow pipe. The overflow radiator is all the way back, the overflow tank is all the way back by the battery. This connection, I believe, is for the temperature sensor, and actually just pulls straight out. You can sort of see the two plugs that are in there, kind of like two barrel connectors on an electrical point. You can see right there, just two copper connectors. Low radiator hose is down here. The drain on this system, if you look at the frame here, it's a fluid in the frame system. So here's the intake tube. This is not a fluid connection point, it's just a connection in the frame. So fluid comes all the way down, and behind the kickstand, this is the drain plug right here. Not much flows out of it. It's a very slow dump. But once I introduced air into the system by opening the radiator cap and then later disconnecting this, fluid really started to flow pretty well. I'm going to take off the radiator. Oh, before we do that, let me show you why you need those extra long needle nose pliers. My bike, it's probably been worked on in its life, so this may not be the correct distance or orientation. However, this bolt that's in the center of the screen, you can kind of see the bolt head of it. That is the hanger bolt, and I was able to loosen it up to be able to hook those bent tip needle nose pliers behind it and just pull it out while supporting the radiator. So I got to put the phone down, camera rather, pull off the radiator, and I'll show you a couple parts behind it. Keep in mind that while you're doing this, there is another electrical connection for the fan that I could not get to until I had the radiator partially removed. I'll show you that too. Here we go. Radiator's removed. Here's the upper hanger. Here's the side mount. There's a rubber grommet in there. Up in here, this is the electrical connection for the fan. Back end of the radiator, this is the left side of the bike, right side of the bike. We're looking at the rear that faces the motor, and this is the bottom. Here's our fill point, overflow tube, the temperature sensor, the lower radiator hose, upper radiator hose, fan electrical connection, has a little barb fitting on the top to lock. This is the that's not it. This is the upper mount. You can see here, I removed the bolt head from this side. This is the left side lower mount, right side lower mount. These have nuts welded to them. The upper point had a free floating nut on the back side. And that was removing the radiator. One thing to always keep in mind is making sure you control the fluids. Glycol ethylene has a sweet flavor and is highly toxic, most commonly affecting animals, pets, dogs, cats, all. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. And once I get around to putting this back on after I clean the carburetors, we will do another video of remounting